I want people to be like, what the heck is she doing, right? I wanted a, what do they call it? Plot twist. That's what it is. That's what I wanted to do in my life. I was ready for that because I had gotten way too comfortable. Welcome to Lauren Honestly, a space for deep feelers, helpers, and healers who also want to understand themselves a little better. So we're putting the spotlight on small mindset shifts and quiet breakthroughs that help us see life, work, and ourselves a little more clearly. Now, let the show begin. I got a question from one of y'all asking about how I overcame the fear of applying for quote-unquote better social work roles. That question hit hard for me because I didn't think I ever was afraid of applying, but I think a lot of times I hid in back of my humility. But in all honesty, I think I was a little afraid. And today I just want to talk about that, the things that we shy away from and how we go through different seasons and just answer some of the questions, which is like, why not me? I really had a huge mindset shift at the end of my 30s that I want to share with you. Some of those mindsets were really rooted in where I was raised. I love the quote, bloom where you're planted, and I definitely believe that wholeheartedly. As a school social worker on the south side of town, I was very comfortable with where I was. I was helping those in positions where I was previously, and I was good at it and I loved it. I really, really did. But today I want to talk a little bit about where we're planted sometimes comes with some ideas and mindsets that can limit us and hold us back. And one of those is I genuinely believe that money was the root of all evil. The more money you got, the more wealthy, the more disconnected you became from your roots, from your people. And if you're watching over on YouTube or Spotify, the video version of this is interesting because I am literally driving around the west side of San Antonio, which is where I'm from. These are my roots. These are the humble beginnings. And I really was afraid of leaving all of this behind. And I realized that I don't leave any of it. It always lives within me, but it doesn't mean I have to stay stuck. The fact that I associated money with greed or ego or just bad people. And I say this now because I think this is happening again. We see people with wealth and we see the ugliness that can come along with that, the disconnectedness. And that's always something I did not want to become. I love my beginnings. I wouldn't change that for the world, but it did bring about a heaviness. I so did not want to get disconnected from my people, from my family. I didn't want to get a big head. Those are things that I really, really was afraid of. And I kind of shrunk and kept myself small a little bit around that. Not fast. I mean, I was the first in my family to go to college and I tackled that and I was checking off all my goals. But I say once I settled into my school social work job, it became comfortable. So I was very, very, very dedicated, very loyal. I couldn't see myself any other place. It was actually my family, my spouse, even my parents that I could tell there was an expectation there of this is not where you finish. And it bothered me for a long time. It bothered me why can't this be enough? But I decided to reflect on that and truly think within myself, am I settling right now? I told myself that I really valued not money, but I valued other things and I still do, but things like time, work-life balance, living in the moment, having summers off, love, those are very much my values, but I kept myself stuck. And I really started seeing money as more of energy, of currency. Just like anything else, just like the way love is energy. Some people have a fear of love because they're not used to it, or maybe it came with conditions. With me, I'm lucky enough to have a childhood where I just expect love in my life. I've never not had love. And I know that it's never going to run out for me. It will always flow to me. And that's beautiful. But then I thought to myself, if money is also energy, just like love, then why can't money flow to me? Am I stopping it? Am I the problem? Just the way some people sabotage relationships and they overthink what they're worthy of accepting. I find that difficult. I help people through those barriers. And for me, my barrier was around money and wealth. I was blocking that from myself. The lack of resources within a public school system is stark, and the pay was no longer comparative, especially with the degrees that I had. And so for myself, for my family, I realized I had to push myself out of this safety net, out of this comfort, so that I could really capitalize on what my gifts were and get compensated for them. And so I decided to go full-blown audacity mode and just start applying, taking us back to the question is like, how do you get over that fear of applying to better roles, to better jobs? And I guess that was it. It was a mixture of overcoming my barriers, my money mindset barriers, and shedding imposter syndrome. The term originated from studies on white women and how there was this gap and how a lot of times they felt unworthy. And these studies weren't done on minorities. And so I decided to just drop that completely. And what's the opposite of imposter syndrome is like having the audacity. And I did make that a word of my year a few years back. My husband and I, we choose a word every year, but we chose the word audacity, which is like, why not me? Like, why not? And I've seen a lot of little memes pop up nowadays when I was like, that's exactly what we're doing. Is like, we see white men apply for roles that are way out of their element. And it's not just white men. I think it's just men in general have a little more audacity than women. I remember when I worked in school systems, there was a man that was applying for every role, like even to be the director of guidance. And he had no business. He had no experience in counseling or guidance or social work, anything like that. But there he was, throwing his name in the hat. And although that was ridiculous to me when I heard it, and you might hear this as ridiculous as well, it was a source of motivation for me, because if he can put himself out there and just believe, then why can't I? So he really stuck with me. And around, I guess late 2024, 2025, I just started applying to these roles that I'm like, I know I don't have every single qualification box checked off, but if I wait till I'm ready, like these opportunities might just pass me by. And I'm a big believer in what is meant to be will be. So I just decided I'm throwing my name in the hat. Now, the caveat to this is there are a lot of losses in between. So you really have to be ready to take those on the chin. And I did. I applied and got called in for interviews and second follow-up interviews and jumping through all the hoops not to get the job, or to get a job that wasn't competitive in pay. And it's like, what's the point of this? So I took a lot on the chin, but that really broke me out of my safety and comfort zone. It truly, truly did. And I know a lot of you are there. You have resonated with some of my other episodes that I will link below that are about just kind of outgrowing and knowing when to move, when to pivot. Because that's a beautiful thing about working in mental health, especially as a social worker, is that there's a lot of places to pivot, but we really get in our own way more often than not, because of safety and comfort. And so with the role that I'm working in now, I've explained a little bit in a previous episode. Someone asked me, like, what were the qualifications and did you have all of them? I had the main ones, which was having your clinical social work license. And that's about it. Like, I'm a civilian. I don't have military experience. I know that's what they were looking for. That's the safe bet. And it just so happens that I got selected. So coming off the streets, as they say, from the civilian world to serve members in the Air National Guard is a little bit of an unheard of. And I do believe like it was destiny. My favorite quote of all time is, follow your bliss and doors will open for you where there wouldn't be a door for anyone else. And I did that when I applied to school social work, because I had internship experience, but I didn't have like actual experience working in schools or with kids or anything like that when I got my job. And then I got comfortable there and it was great. The pay was good for the time, but when it became not so competitive is when I had to like really sit down and challenge myself and again, do the same thing and step back into a place of discomfort and really double down on that word, audacity, and eliminate imposter syndrome from my vocabulary. Like the affirmation was like, we're doing this. I am not shrinking any longer. Like, I'm going to force myself to grow. I'm going to stop over explaining. I'm going to stop apologizing for what I'm doing and just live in full blown audacity. I want people to be like, what the heck is she doing? Right? I wanted what do they call it? Plot twist. That's what it is. That's what I wanted to do in my life. I was ready for that because I had gotten way too comfortable and I was starting to shed those money mindset barriers that were keeping me stuck. Another thing I want to say, and this is big, if you are a parent, if you're a mom or a dad, especially in the younger years of raising your child, it is super important to realize that a lot of these younger years is self-sacrifice. It's not sabotage. Like, you are not sabotaging yourself. So if you're hearing this as a young mom, I don't want you to think I'm trying to push you out of the nest, right? Because you really should be comfortable. You really should have work-life balance. Those things are necessities. And I would not do it differently. As a young mom, as a school social worker, that balance in my life of having time off with my kids, I was in a season of giving. And that's what young parenthood is. It takes a lot out of you. And I don't envy having younger kids anymore. My kids are teenagers and I love it so much. Like, I love talking with them. I love our conversations. I love how they challenge me. I love all of that so much. I'm going to miss these days. I know I will. But as they get older, I started realizing that I was starting to put myself last just by default, because as a young mom, everything I do was for them because it needed to be that way. They were little babies, right? Everything, I was just trying to get them to survival mode. And as they get older, I realized I was still defaulting back to that because I was comfortable. It was habit at that point. As I'm talking about this, I think my metaphor that's coming to mind is the idea of shrinking versus expanding. As a parent to younger kids, we shrink, and shrinking sounds bad. It sounds like it has a bad connotation, like to shrink. But I really think there is a season where we shrink down. And you know this, if you're a school social worker or therapist, you know, like when you work with kids, you get down on their level. Like, you literally shrink to help them feel safe, to be on their level, to make sure that they were getting everything they needed from me as far as that safety, support, that love, that connection. And in that season of shrinking, sometimes we see that in motherhood. We're like, oh, I disappeared, I shrunk. I don't believe that. I think that's BS. I think that's a season of not disappearing. It's a season of anchoring and strengthening your roots. In putting someone else first, I was challenging myself to just see how strong I can be. And what better metaphor than rooting down like a tree? Their roots go so deep. We can't even imagine in an older tree how deep those roots go. But when your roots are so strong and so deep, then you can expand far beyond what you ever thought. And now I realize, oh my God, I need to flip this because they're older now. And older kids really still look to parents as a guidepost to see what they're doing. And if I don't have goals for myself, what am I showing them? So there is a season for anchoring when your kids are younger. And then there's a season for just launching and expanding. That's where I am at right now. I love it. I love these very lofty goals that I've set for myself. They are super scary. I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of dark nights of the soul where I'm like, what the heck am I doing? Am I qualified for this? Comparing myself to others in my position, and they're not civilians. They were active duty, military, and they know all the jargon. They know all the things already. They know all the customs, and I don't. But I just know it's going to be worth it because I'm expanding myself and my roots are deep. they are so, so deep, and I am solid. And then just to see my kids watching me step into scary territory, even on my physical journey of like losing weight and getting healthy, I see them cheering me on, motivating me. Trust me, they roast me every day. They keep me humble. But I do want to share that as you're tuning in, if you're in a season of anchoring and shrinking, don't judge yourself. It's not a bad thing. You're anchoring down, you're rooting yourself, you're getting stronger. And maybe you're headed towards expansion. And this might be more for you than anybody else right now, because I know it's scary. I've been there, but there's so much beauty on the other side. You got to take it on the chin for a few years, maybe like me. And it's tough, and no one really goes through it with you. Like not even my spouse. I mean, he believed in me wholeheartedly, but when you take those hits on the chin, I mean, it's all you, and it is difficult, but the other side is just so expansive and beautiful. So there's so much on the other side. I just want to leave it there. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being here. Let me know what you think, and if you have any other questions, and we'll just do another chit chat, more vlogs here to come. Till next time. Bye-bye, guys.